Tesla has discontinued the 260-mile rear-wheel drive Model Y and replaced it with a long-range rear-wheel drive option that is priced $3,000 lower than the all-wheel drive option. But since the range of the rear-wheel drive option is only marginally better than the all-wheel drive option, and since you lose several features with that cheaper option, is it really a better deal, or is the all-wheel drive option actually better? Follow along as I compare these two Model Y variants to help you decide which one may actually be better for you. I'm John, and this is Cleanerwatt. As I demonstrated in a comparison video that I published earlier this year, the previous 260-mile rear-wheel drive Model Y clearly had a software-limited battery pack, and Tesla was not making the full battery capacity available. Based on EPA documents, it looks like the rear-wheel drive pack was limited to around 66.5 kilowatt hours as compared to the all-wheel drive version, which has a pack size of around 83.4 kilowatt hours. This software-locked battery pack in that previous version of the Model Y was confirmed by Elon Musk in this post on X when he wrote, quote, "The 260-mile range Model Ys built over the past several months actually have more range that can be unlocked for $1,500 to $2,000, gains 40 to 60 miles of range, depending on which battery cells you have, working through regulatory approvals to enable this." So if you previously purchased that shorter range rear-wheel drive Model Y, you're in luck if you want a little bit more range, and I believe this is really good news for those of you who purchased that version because $1,500 to $2,000 for an extra 40 to 60 miles could make a lot of sense. But with that being said, going back to the new version, is the new rear-wheel drive Model Y worth the savings versus the all-wheel drive version? Well, when I published that last comparison video, the price between the 260-mile rear-wheel drive Model Y and the all-wheel drive version was $5,000. And based on the impressive charging curve, since charging to what the car said was a 100% state of charge was not really 100%, and due to the fact that the battery pack should actually suffer less degradation with the extra 10 to 20% buffer, I concluded that personally, I would rather save the $5,000 and go with the rear-wheel drive version. However, this new long-range rear-wheel drive option costs around $3,000 less than the all-wheel drive version and gives you 10 more miles of range, but there are a few other differences that are worth pointing out. So do I feel like this rear-wheel drive option is worth saving the extra $3,000? Well, this time I think I would personally actually go with the all-wheel drive version, and here's why. Beyond the base purchase price, what actually matters more to people is the monthly payment amount. And that $3,000 difference only makes a very small difference when it comes to what Tesla estimates for the loan or lease amounts for this vehicle. So based on Tesla's estimates, if you get a loan with $4,500 down at 6.49% APR in 72 months, they estimate that after the tax credit, your monthly payment for the long-range all-wheel drive Model Y will be around $602 per month, and with the long-range all-wheel drive version, it's $50 more, $652 per month, once again, according to Tesla's calculations. When it comes to the lease differences, with $29.99 down and a 36-month lease with 10,000 miles allowed per year, Tesla estimates that the lease payment for the long-range rear-wheel drive version will be $399 per month, or $30 more, $429 per month for the long-range all-wheel drive version. So as you can see, that extra $3,000 really doesn't make a huge difference when it comes to the monthly payment amounts for this vehicle. And beyond just having one less motor, there are several important feature differences between these two models. But before I discuss those differences, this portion of today's video is sponsored by JOWUA, providers of quality accessories designed for your Tesla. If you currently own or are about to purchase a Tesla Model 3, Y, S, or X, JOWUA has many must-have accessories for your Tesla. One of those must-have accessories are their foldable trays, which can be used while you are parked to create a great work surface for a laptop, food, or whatever, and when you are done, they conveniently fold up and can be stored in a Model 3 or Y front trunk or under the seats of a Model X or Y. But that's just one of the great accessories that JOWUA offers. They also offer other great accessories like their center console tray organizers, all-weather floor liners, a wireless game controller, and more. Find these and many other great accessories for your Tesla by going over to jowa-life.com/Cleanerwatt, and using this link will automatically load in the discount code Cleanerwatt, which will save you 5% off your purchase. I will put this link in the video description below, and do note that I do earn a commission on any JOWUA purchase you make using this link, which does help support this channel. Now, once again, beyond having one less motor, the rear-wheel drive version of the Model Y does have a few feature differences as well as compared to the all-wheel drive version of the vehicle. For example, the all-wheel drive version of the vehicle has a premium 2-amp audio system with 13 speakers and 1 subwoofer, whereas the rear-wheel drive version comes with a more basic audio system with 7 speakers, and it's a 1-amp system. In addition, unlike the all-wheel drive version, the rear-wheel drive version does not have fog lights, does not include the parcel shelf, and the vehicle is only offered in the 5-seat configuration. If you want the 7-seat configuration, you have to go with the long-range all-wheel drive version of the vehicle. But nonetheless, both vehicles still include basic autopilot, a full suite of ADAS features, a heated steering wheel, and heated front and rear seats. I also noticed that right now on the Tesla configurator, if you want the Quicksilver paint option for the Model Y, that is not currently being offered for the rear-wheel drive option of the vehicle, but it is being offered for the long-range all-wheel drive and the performance version. Going back to the powertrain differences, of course, having that extra motor and that all-wheel drive powertrain is going to be better for winter traction. But the rear-wheel drive Teslas equipped with the right winter tires do a pretty good job in winter conditions, and you actually might be surprised how well they do. But nonetheless, the all-wheel drive version of the vehicle should still do better. So if you live in a colder northern climate, just that extra motor alone might be worth the extra $3,000 to you. Another big difference between these vehicles is the quickness or performance of the vehicles. The rear-wheel drive version of the Model Y can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour according to Tesla in 6.5 seconds, but with the all-wheel drive version of the vehicle, that drops to 4.8 seconds. But with the all-wheel drive version of the Model Y, that 0 to 60 mile per hour time drops down to 4.8 seconds. Moving beyond performance to a range and efficiency comparison, I'm actually really surprised that when equipped with 19-inch wheels, there's only a 10-mile difference between these two Model Y variants. I personally expected that there would be a bigger difference between these vehicles, and it could be due to the fact that Tesla is using a different 2170 battery cell in that vehicle, and very possibly it has a smaller battery pack. I don't know that yet. Or it's very possible that Tesla's all-wheel drive powertrains are just so efficient now that they really don't make that big a difference when it comes to efficiency. Either way, once again, with 19-inch wheels, there's only a 10-mile difference between those vehicles. And if you move to 20-inch wheels, there's only a 3-mile difference when it comes to EPA range. You can see there that I've calculated the watt hours per mile and the miles that you can travel per kilowatt hour, and once again, those efficiencies are quite close. However, beyond the EPA range estimates, the real-world range estimates are actually more important. Now, the EPA did recently change the rules with how EV ranges are calculated. And with these changes, several of Tesla's vehicles got a lower EPA range estimate. But the benefit of this is that now the EPA rated range for Tesla's vehicles are much more accurate. For example, I recently came across a video that was published by Brandon Flash on YouTube testing a 260-mile range rear-wheel drive Model Y driving 70 miles per hour on the highway, and Brandon was able to achieve around 250 miles on a single charge, which equates to around 96.2% of its EPA 260-mile rating. When it comes to the new long-range rear-wheel drive Model Y, the efficiency should be pretty much the same as that 260-mile variant, because once again, it should have the same size battery pack. So if you multiply 96.2 by 320 miles of range, that means going 70 miles per hour on the highway in the same conditions as Brandon Flash's test, that vehicle should be able to get around 308 miles of range. When it comes to the long-range all-wheel drive Model Y with 20-inch wheels, that vehicle, according to an out-of-spec reviews video on YouTube, was able to achieve 286 miles of range driving on the highway, which equates to 98% of the EPA rating for that vehicle. So the real-world range of these vehicles should be very similar to the EPA rated range, so there's not going to be a big difference there once again when it comes to the EPA range or the real-world range between these vehicles. Moving on, when it comes to a charging speed comparison, since these vehicles, all variants of the Model Y, I assume, have the same size battery pack, or if there is a slight difference with the rear-wheel drive version of the vehicle, it's very, very slight. But assuming that they have the same battery packs, the charging curves pretty much should be the same for each of these vehicles, going from a 10% to 80% state of charge in 27 minutes. And the only difference is going to happen with the efficiency of the vehicles. So I've calculated there the miles per minute of charging that you actually get. And yes, of course, the slightly more efficient rear-wheel drive Model Y with 19-inch wheels will add a little bit more miles per minute of charging as compared to that EPA range because it's more efficient. But once again, the difference is very, very small. With all that being said, based on the differences that I've mentioned, this time I would rather pay the extra $3,000 and get the all-wheel drive powertrain because I believe the difference this time is definitely worth that extra $3,000. Do let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again to JOWUA for sponsoring this video. And as a reminder, make sure that you click that link in the video description to check out the great accessories for your Tesla that JOWUA offers. And if you use that link, it will automatically load in a 5% discount for you off of your purchase. And once again, I do earn a commission off of your purchase. So purchasing using that link from JOWUA does help support this channel. I'd also like to say once again, thank you to all of those of you who support me through Patreon. Your support makes a big difference and does help make these videos possible. If you'd like to find out more about how you can support my work through Patreon, I will put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.